Never start a speech by saying thank you, telling a joke, or with some canned opening like, "Ladies and gentlemen!" Now that you know how not to do it, stick around to find out killer techniques to start with a bang.
Distinctions for life. Helping you get what you really want in life with small changes that make a big difference.
I'm Ron Davis, and I'm all about helping ambitious people go from being wannabe entrepreneurs to having a profitable and sustainable business. I do this by giving you the mental tools to understand your business and what you need to do next to make it happen. These videos are one way that I do that. Another way is a short weekly email I send with a few useful tools, resources, and topics. If that sounds like something that you'd like to get your hands on, go to distinctionsforlife.tv and sign up. I've been studying public speaking for almost a decade now, giving speeches to various audiences, at least on a monthly basis. During that time, I've also heard a lot of speakers, newbie and experienced. What I can tell you, most people screw up the beginning of their speech. Today, I want to share with you some powerful ways to start your speech. But first, let me share some of my pain. You see, when I watch people give speeches today, I so often cringe. There's this fallacy in the world of public speaking. It is the idea that if you are comfortable in front of a group and aren't nervous, then you are a good public speaker. But it isn't true. Yes, fear of public speaking is almost always at the top of people's fear lists, and many people are petrified to be in front of an audience. When one of those people get up, you know it's going to be painful. But just because you are comfortable and relaxed doesn't mean that you're going to deliver a speech that has impact and makes people want to take action. The first place you see this lack of skill is at the beginning. Most people who are comfortable but unpracticed start their speech with tropes that they've learned. Well, I don't know where people learn this stuff. They're the urban legends of public speaking. Nobody knows where they came from. The idea that you should start with a joke. Who told you to start with a joke? Or that the first thing you want to do is thank the people who invited you to speak. Don't do that. Unless you're a stand-up comedian, there is no reason to start with a joke. It's a waste of time. I'm not even sure stand-up comedians start with jokes. I think they may talk something else and then give you a joke. So you don't start with a joke. If you start out by saying thank you, no one is going to believe you really mean it. Everyone says that. And at the end of this video, I'll give you a tip on how to thank your audience in a way that they will actually believe. There is only one time in a speech that you can guarantee people are going to be paying attention to you. At the beginning. If you don't grab them and get to the point quickly, they're gone. They're going to start thinking about lunch, they're going to grab their phones, and start surfing the internet. So don't waste these precious moments. Want to know how to amplify this moment to focus attention? Start with a power pause. The power pause is you standing on stage, looking at the audience for a few seconds, and doing nothing. Look out and wait for people to focus on you. I know this will be painful, but the longer you go, the more attention you will get. You may be thinking I'm full of it. You'd be wrong, because I learned this from one of Ronald Reagan's speechwriters. Yes, and I'll give you that resource afterwards. Also, if you put yourself in that audience, you know this is true as well. Imagine you're in that audience. A speaker gets introduced and you are distracted. You're looking at your phone or thinking about something, and nothing happens. After a few seconds, you're going to look up to find out what's going on. The speaker is just standing there looking at the audience. And you start wondering, what's this guy doing? What's going on? And that, my friends, is where you want your audience, paying attention to you, wondering what's going to happen next. That is what the power pause gets you, attention. Then you move into the power open. The first words out of your mouth should be something that grabs your audience. It can be a story that hooks their emotions. It can be a quote or an intriguing question. Something that shows you know what you're doing and your subject is important and that they should listen. Don't waste this moment with fluff. People tune out if you start telling a joke. They tune out when you begin the formal platitudes of speeches or when you start thanking them because it's just too much formality. Start with the biggest punch you can give your audience. I recently heard a speech by Travis White, and he did something I had never seen before, but it is a powerful opening. The first thing he said at the beginning of his speech about building a personal brand was, Here are 3 resources that you can use today to build your brand. Then he gave 3 online tools with short explanations of how they could be used. From the first word of his speech, people were frantically taking notes. Everyone immediately credited him with knowing what he was talking about. They also knew he was going to give practical, actionable advice. What 3 tools could you share at the opening of your speech? All right, to sum up, here's how you open a speech. You pause for a moment in silence and watch for people to give you their attention. Then you give the most powerful and impactful information that you can give them to open your speech. One way to do this is to give them 3 tools that they can immediately use to accomplish the topic of your speech. Question of the day: how do you open your speeches? Before I go, I promise to tell you how to actually thank your audience. If you open the speech with thanks, everyone thinks you're just doing it because you have to, or you're stalling. Instead, work it into the middle of your speech. Make it part of what you were talking about, and people will believe it. I should point out that I learned some of these techniques from a book called Speak Like Churchill, Stand Like Lincoln by James Humes, Ronald Reagan's speechwriter. You can find a link to it below. Thanks for watching today. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. This channel is all about helping you get what you really want in life with small changes that make a big difference. Until next time, I'm Ron Davis. Never start a speech by saying thank you, telling a joke, or with a canned opening, like... Okay, you can start with that. Although I did see a speech just last week where the first thing the guy did was pull his pants down and tell people to take a picture and post it for a guy who wasn't there. How's that for a story? That's a power open. Although really, I think it was a little over the top, but I think that's kind of the guy's brand. So we're gonna start this whole thing over again, and I am not pulling my pants down. Holy cow, I just got mooned. That's what happens. And that, my friends, is where you want your audience, paying attention to you, wondering what's gonna happen next. In the simplest word possible, no, I'm gonna use more than one word, because I may be a little over the top at the moment, because she mooned me. It's not my fault.